So, hello guys again. Today I'm going to talk about the best route between Oslo and Hamburg. So this will apply for people from Norway going down to the continent, but it will also be useful for people like foreigners, like French, whatever, Germans coming to Norway. So there are three main routes that I will discuss today, and there are other routes too, but I can't cover all of them. So the first one is the Larvik Hirtshals route, which involves one ferry between Larvik and Hirtshals, is MS Superspeed, and then you drive to Denmark and do the rest of the trip there. And the next one is to drive along the Swedish coast over to Denmark, and then you take Rødby Havn and Puttgarden ferry. And the last one is to drive all the bridges instead, like Øresund Bridge and Storebælt, and skip all the ferries. And of course there are other routes that you can do, like for instance from Oslo you go all the way to, you take the boat to Kiel, and then you start the vacation from there. So that's always possible. I will not cover this. I will just cover the three main ones that I consider are the best and the cheapest one. So the first one is the Larvik Hirtshals. Now the advantage of that one is that you have to drive less than the other ones. You skip two bridges, which is pretty good. You skip Øresund and Storebælt bridge. They cost money, but the disadvantage is that it's not very flexible. You have two departures per day only. So there's one like very early in the morning, 8 in the morning. So that means if you live in Oslo, you have to wake up like 5 in the morning just to prepare and get there. And then the next one is 5:30, which is better. But the problem with the 5:30 departure is that, this is from Larvik by the way, is that when you arrive in Denmark, it will be like 9 in the evening. And then you only have about 3 hours of driving until you should stop somewhere. So you will, for instance, not be able to drive all the way to Hamburg. I mean, if you do that, you will arrive like 3 at night or in the morning. And then on return, it's also not very flexible because you have one departure, 45 minutes past noon, which is probably the best one, but it's also usually the most expensive ones. That one is fine, but you also have the 10:15 in the evening departure, and then you will arrive in Larvik at 2 at night, and then you will be back in Oslo like 4 in the morning. I've been there, went on a road trip with wifey. That was pretty exhausting. And the price for the ferry depends on the season. Of course, high season more expensive. Also it depends how long in advance you book this, but you can expect about 200 euros for a round trip, which is okay. We're gonna compare with the other ones. So how much time does it take to travel here? Well, you have to expect about 650 kilometers of driving total. That means on the Norwegian side, and then on the Denmark side and the German side, right? So that takes, I estimate it to take 7 hours and 15 minutes. Now, given that is also including supercharging time. Well, I forgot to mention that, this is, I mean, we assume that we use supercharger on the Tesla, but it could be, I guess, other cars too. But unless it's a Kona, if it's like a Leaf or i3, then it's slower. But I actually estimate about 88 kilometers per hour average, including charging time. And then also with the ferry, you have to wait you have to arrive at the ferry terminal 1 hour before departure. So that's like a little bit cumbersome. You kind of waste time doing nothing, at the ferry terminal. And then the boat takes 3 hours and 45 minutes. So that means a total of 12 hours for that leg. I mean, for the whole trip there. So, yeah. And then let's see the next one, which is the Rødby Havn Puttgarden route. So with this route, you have to drive more, but it's more flexible. I mentioned the previous one, there are like 2 departures, but here there are departures every half an hour throughout the whole day and night. So that is better. And the thing is that you still have to drive over Øresund Bridge and pay the toll for Øresund Bridge, which is the most expensive one. But at least you can skip Storebælt Bridge. So you go south and you take, well, it's southwest, you take the ferry, and then you're in Germany. So the price for the ferry and the bridge is about 300 euros. Again, you can pay, if you pay there, then it's more expensive than book it beforehand. And also the problem here is that the ferry, you have to pay more if you have more passengers. So the bridge is like a fixed price. You know, they don't care how many people are in the car when you pass the bridge. But with the ferry, more people means more money. So that will be a total of 300 euros. I estimate about 190 euros for the ferry and another 110 euros for the bridge. So this is round trip. Well, the previous one was also round trip. So this one is more expensive than taking Hirtshals ferry, given that you get a good price on the Hirtshals ferry. And as for time here, you have to drive longer, so 915 kilometers total, and then we divided by around 88. It depends, you know, how strict you are with the supercharger stops. I mean, if you let it charge too long, charge to like 90%, then, you know, it'll be slower. But if you try to stop at around 60, let's say 60 to 70%, depending on which battery you have, then you can get a pretty good average speed. So that will be a total of 10.5 hours, and then you have to expect like an average like 15-minute wait time at the ferry before you can get on the ferry. And then the ferry takes 45 minutes, so that will be a total of 11 hours and 30 minutes. So it's actually half an hour faster than the previous one. And then we have the last one, which is don't take any ferries, just drive all the bridges. So it's the longest one, you have to drive the most, but at least there is no ferry you have to catch. So with this one, you have to cross 2 bridges, and they have toll roads on both of them. And the price is, if you don't have any like subscription or whatever, it will be 110 euros for the Øresund bridge, and another 50 euros for Storebælt. So that's 160 euros total, but you know, it's still cheaper than the 2 other ones. But there is another option. People who live in Malmö, you know, on the Swedish side, and they work at in Copenhagen, they have this bropass, and I also have the bropass. Let me show you here, by the way. Have it here. You have to order this one. It's like, it's an extra chip, and then you get special price for you, my friend. Yes. So this one costs 40 euros subscription per year, but the advantage is that the price for Øresund bridge is reduced a lot. So it actually pays off if you only take 1 trip per year. It will still be cheaper than, you know, not having that subscription. So it's a total of 45 plus 50, which is 95 euros for the round trip. So it's by far the cheapest one. But of course, you have to drive further. So this is a total of 1,065 kilometers, and yeah, we have lots of superchargers on the way. So normally, you know, I would skip like one. There are lots of superchargers I can skip on the route, and I can make the trip in 12 hours with my Model X. So if you have a Model S, like 100D or whatever, you might even make it, you should make it faster than me. So if you compare these ones, you see that the Larvik Hirtshals with the boat, the longest boat route, is 200 euros total, and I don't count the price for the car. Like, you have to drive more kilometers, right? So there's some depreciation in driving, so we leave that one outside. But you can, I guess you can add it if you want to find out more and have a more refined calculation. And you see it takes about 12 hours, which is fair enough. And then the Puttgarden one is the most expensive. It will cost about 300 euros, but it's about half an hour faster. And the advantage with that one is that if you're heading east afterwards, for instance, if you're going to Berlin, then the Puttgarden route will be faster for you, because you don't have to go via Hamburg. And then the last one is taking the land route, which is the most the most flexible one. That one is the cheapest, even if you don't have subscription, is the cheapest one. And if you do the land route with bropass, it's just, you know, heads down the cheapest. It's like half the price of, or 1/3 of the price of the other ones, and most flexible ones. So actually I prefer, well, you probably guessed it, I prefer the land route with this one. So I've taken the other routes too before. I've, you know, done road trips many times with the Tesla and with fossil cars. So overall, I prefer the land route. It's better, and if you care about the environment, then I guess, you know, it's better to drive on, I guess, nuclear power, right? No, but we don't know where the power from the supercharger comes from, but we can hope that it comes from renewable. So, and it should be better for the environment that we drive on the bridges rather than taking dirty ferries. Yeah. So I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it was useful for you. So check this out. I recommend it. This is good shit. Yeah, the Bro Pass. So that's it for now. I guess I can talk to you guys later.